I was actually born and raised in the Fiji Islands. All my life, I've just been an island girl. With Junior, we've known each other forever.
I used to look after her. I treated her like my sister. She hung out with my sisters and we were like family. There was a lot of joy growing up in the islands, even though we didn't have food, but we still had so much joy. We lived right next to a rubbish dump. And it's funny, I was so little, my dad always take me and my sister to the rubbish dump to collect food. They dug under the ground and threw meat and stuff, and my dad was, you stay up there, and he was just throwing us the meat. It was fun for us, but we didn't know the struggle that my parents were having just to feed us.
My parents, they just wanted a better life for my siblings and myself. And America has a lot of opportunities. They won the green card lottery and we received our visas. From the islands, we moved straight into what I feel is the heart of San Francisco, the Tenderloin community. That in itself is just a rough neighborhood to move into for someone who's from such a small, laid-back island. The city in itself was pretty overwhelming. San Francisco, it's a huge city. Because I was 16 years old, I attended high school here. I wasn't really used to the freedom of speech, so to say. There were a lot of teens in my class that would talk back to their teachers. Growing up in the islands, we were expected to always listen to our elders. We would only speak up if we were spoken to or asked to speak. Going to school in San Francisco was a huge culture shock. The main thing that I struggled with was not having extended family close by. In Fiji, we live with grandma and grandpa and aunties and uncles and cousins. I guess that in itself was a huge change. I think I missed home so much that it felt like this emptiness in me. I left family and friends and everything that I was used to, so I think I reacted in a way where I was just trying to fill that gap. I just ended up filling it with, being with the wrong crowd, participating in drinking and trying out new things not biblically correct. Some people, they either respond or react in a way where they still stay true to who they are, and some don't, and I was in that category. I took full advantage of that whole freedom of speech thing, making my own decisions and choices and what I felt was best for myself. So eventually I just started spiraling down the wrong path. At 17, 18 years old, I got caught up in a relationship that wasn't godly. I was feeling more lost than anything. He kind of manipulated me into moving in with him and running away from home. Because I was so young, I fell into that trap. I think that's where everything went even deeper. It started with him pouring gifts. He took me on trips, even took me back home to the Fiji Islands, all these lavish things that I could never afford for myself. That was his way of showing me that he loved me. From then came the whole mental abusive thing. He made me feel like without him, I would not be someone, and that no one else in this world would love me or take care of me the way that he was providing for me. I fell into it. I truly believed that no one else would love me the way that he did. He was really controlling. As our relationship went on, I started to notice that I wasn't allowed to do things that I wanted to do for myself, hang out with my friends. He even prevented me from being around my family as well, even to the point where he got me a job with his sister so that his sister could keep an eye on me. As time went along, I started feeling, I don't think this is what love is. So I started speaking up for myself. And in doing so is when he became physical. He would hit me. Just little things would cause him to put his hands on me. After being physically abusive, he would be really sincere when he apologized, letting me know that he did it because he loves me and he didn't want to lose me. Because that was my first real relationship, I thought that was normal, and I didn't think anything of it. My doctors recommended that I have surgery and remove myself from where I was at. I was in the hospital once a month. It's a sickness that I actually developed. If it wasn't taken care of, I would most likely not be able to have children. I went into surgery. I was all alone. I remember waking up and just feeling really broken. That was a turning point for me. When I woke up, I just remember it can't be living like this anymore. And it was on that hospital bed that for the first time in a long time, I cried out to the Lord. And I said, you know what? I need you to save me. And I didn't know how it was gonna play out, but I just needed him to take me out of this hole that I had dug myself in. I called my mom. At work was the only place that my mom could come visit me.
Her mom was the one who reached out and told us what Betty was going through and her situation. Growing up together, I've always seen her as so happy, and just seeing her being in a different state, I didn't want to see her that way.
It was during my lunch break that my mom called me to go downstairs to the first floor. And that was a huge surprise where Junior and his siblings were all waiting.
It was like a mission, you know. I was like, let me go get Betty out of this.
My mom told me that we're just taking you out for lunch and we're gonna drive you to Sacramento because his family's there.
I wasn't thinking about the consequences or what might happen if he shows up.
I remember feeling really scared, scared for my life. And I kept telling my mom, promise me you're gonna bring me back to work before my shift is over. And so she promised me. And that's when I jumped in the car with the whole family and they drove me 2 hours away to Sacramento. I feel like everything happened real quick that night. What I thought was, me going to meet the family again after years and years turned into something else. My parents and Junior's parents called the both of us into his dad's room. My mom just explained and poured everything to his parents, letting them know everything that I was struggling with. My mom and Junior's dad, they just looked at each other and they said, okay, here's the solution. This is what we're gonna do.
Betty, we want you to be happy and this is gonna happen. You're gonna marry Junior. And I was sitting right there.
We feel like you both are called into ministry. You can do great things for, the building of God's kingdom. My mind immediately went back to everything that the guy I was with did for me. I was currently engaged to him. I still had the ring on my finger. Even though I felt scared, there was a sense of peace that just came over the room. Junior, he told us that he had been having visions.
It was a dream. It felt so real. I was carrying a girl, a sick girl. It was so dark in the house. And I was praying, Lord, if you want me to heal her, just turn on this light bulb. I think God spoke to me to bring her to the light. I knew that Betty was abused in her relationship, but I didn't know that she was very sick. I didn't know that until after. And I was like, hey, God gave me this vision. It must be you.
This God's sense of peace just hovered over everyone in that decision. It sounded crazy, but we just fell to the Lord at that moment.
It went so quick. We found out that we were married like 2-3 weeks later.
When our parents placed us together, because back in my young days, I did have a crush on him, I think it caused me to believe like, okay, maybe it would work.
When I was little, her mom's always telling me, hey, one day you're gonna marry my daughter.
She's like, you can go and date anyone you want, but you're gonna marry my daughter.
And even when I was walking with one of my ex-girlfriends in Fiji, she'd be like, Junior, remember, you're gonna be my son-in-law.
To be honest with you, in the beginning of our marriage, we did struggle a lot. I was still working through some issues.
I know at times when we argue, she thinks that I'm gonna beat her or smack her. Those were the struggles, in the beginning, and because her engagement was still fresh.
I think what helped us a lot was that our parents walked alongside of us every step of the way.
And in the process, then we started to learn each other. I think the main thing now is that we have a foundation of love that Christ has really poured upon us, and nothing changes. And we both knew in our heart, growing up, that God had a purpose for us. Even when we got married, even with all the struggles, we knew deep within our heart that God was calling us to something greater.
We committed to fasting and praying over God's calling in our lives. We knew it was in ministry, we just didn't know where or how. Until that day, I started taking the kids back to the Salvation Army. My husband and I are both serving here. We're going on 10 months now, being officers. We are having the time of our lives. We're still learning how to lead ministry, how to lead our people. Knowing that God's with us and this is where He wants us to be just gives us that sense of peace and perseverance just to keep pushing through. We work so well together. I feel like we're two different parts of a puzzle piece that God made for each other. My husband and my 6 children, they are home for me. And I look back, all I can say is that I have seen the fingerprints of God every step of the way, every season.
After everything, after we got married, she was never sick again. It's crazy. That sickness usually comes back, and it never happened. Praise God.
And when I look at my children, I'm just in awe of God blessing me. He would love me that much that He would entrust 6, not 1, but 6 beautiful children into my care.
Even though we'll go through struggles as a couple or family, we feel God's love and we know that we are called to love each other.
We try to be open with our children, just having open conversations with them and reminding them that they are loved despite what they do. It doesn't matter who you were yesterday or what you did in your past. His grace is sufficient. He loves you. And what matters most is that today, He wants to make something beautiful out of your life.
If this video impacted you, like it and share it. We are always posting content, so don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for helping us share change.